Hi everyone, welcome to Coffee and Card at Home. So this week we are starting a new month and we are using the Christmas Scottie set. So it's a really cute little set. My favourite thing has to be the tartan background, which we're not using today but is coming. And also it has the coordinated Scottie Dog punch as well that goes with it. So we're going to get started. So these are the cards that we're making today. We're using the main Scottie Dog that fits with the punch, and then obviously a Christmas sentiment, and then the background's created with these little parcels, which is quite sweet. So what you're going to need to get started with that is you're going to need a card base, and I've gone for a square card base this time. So actually once folded, this one measures 4 inches by 4 inches, which I think is about 10 centimeters by 10 centimeters. And this is just in our basic white thick cardstock. And I've just burnished my fold there, and I'm going to start with my background. So the two main colours I'm using, I've chosen a red and a green. I've decided to go with real red and old olive, but you could obviously choose any colour, red or green. I'm just going to take one of them, it doesn't matter which, first of all, and we're just going to create our background with our parcels. And I'm just stamping, first of all, one of the stamps is 2 lines together. It looks almost a bit like an equal sign. And this forms like the outside of your parcel. And for this one, I decided not to stamp off the edge of the card, but you can do if you want to. It's entirely up to you. And I'm going to use the same stamp, but using red. So we're just going to mix it in so that we've got both colourways. And you can see that I'm turning my stamp as I go so that they're random. On my first example, I decided to make them straight, but on my second one, I decided to mix it up a little bit and go sort of more random. So it's entirely up to you if you want them to be straight or if you want them to be at an angle. Then I'm going to take this stamp here, which is the actual ribbon part, and I'm going to use my red again, and this time that's going to go in between my green parcel pieces. And if you just very carefully look as you stamp it, how you are lining it up, you just need to make sure that obviously it's in the middle and not too high up. That one didn't come out too well. I think the thing is it's just a background, so don't worry if it's not entirely perfect. And chances are some of your imperfections might get covered over with the Scottie Dog and the sentiment anyway. I'm just going to pop my red away for a minute, and I'm going to bring back my green, and I'm going to do the same thing again, this time the green bow that's going to go between the red bits of the parcel. So obviously, depending on how many you've done, it's going to take you a little while longer. And the nice thing about this card is you could do them in any colours. I went for the red and the green just because I love the Christmas colours. So I'm just going to pop that to the side. Next, we're going to take a piece of basic white and we're going to stamp our Scottie Dog this time. And I am keeping him in traditional kind of colours that he would be black, but we are going to go for slightly different Scottie Dogs in the coming weeks. So you'll see that we can use him in a different way. And just make sure he's well inked. And also it helps if you've got quite an inky ink pad as well. I think I need to do some re-inking on mine so he isn't coming out quite as crispy as he would if I had a little more ink on on there. But then in a way, it adds to make him look more like he is a dog, because it makes him look a little bit furry. So I'm just going to punch him out with the punch. So just going to line him up. So if you just press down on your punch just to grip it before you actually punch it. It's also going to punch out our ribbon for us. And rather than stamping our ribbon, we are just going to colour that in a moment. So I'm going to pop that to the side. It's up to you what colour twine you want to use, but I've just tied some twine around his neck. I haven't got any red for this one, so I'm just going to tie some of this green and white twine around his neck. So you might want to just colour in his collar just in case you think it might end up being visible, but we're just going to wrap the twine around a few times and then tie it in a knot. It kind of makes him look a bit like he's got kind of a little scarf on. Oops. There we go, and then you might want to just trim the ends a little bit. And then whilst we're still doing some stamping, we're going to get our piece of card for our sentiment. And the piece of card that I'm using measures 3 centimetres by 4.5 centimetres. Obviously, it depends if you want to use a different sentiment. You may want to get one a little bit bigger. And I'm going to stamp my Merry Christmas. And I'm going to stamp that with the green. On one way, the ones I stamped it with red, so it's entirely up to you which way round you do it, or you could just do it in black if you wanted to. And then just to make that stand out from the background, I'm just going to get my red ink and I'm just going to tap in my ink there, just to give the edge a bit of colour. It's a nice way of doing it so that you don't have to get a different piece of card to put under it. Nice quick way. So I've just drawn my bow on. You could use the stamp if you wanted to, if you were worried about that, but I decided to draw it on myself. So I've used the fine tip of the green and I've just left a little white edge like the punch would do. And then I'm just going to colour that in with the red. I'm using the thicker end of my red, but if you found that a little bit difficult, you could use the thinner end. And I'm just going to get my green pen again just to go back around there, so then you can just extend that line out a little bit. And then I've just put a couple of little lines on each side of the bow at the top and one at the bottom there, just to make it look a bit more 3D. So now we're on to assembling everything. So I'm going to bring my card base back. First of all, I'm going to put my dog on. So I'm just using some Stampin' dimensionals. And you don't need too many. One to kind of go on his head, a couple on his body, and if you want to, you could put a mini one on his tail. And then I'm just going to position him so that he's up kind of towards the top of my card, but over to the left hand side so that it gives me space for my sentiment here. And my sentiment, I'm going to pop some dimensionals on there as well. So kind of got roughly about 5 on there. And then just lining it up with my grid paper. I'm just going to stick that so it overlaps on his leg slightly. And then I'm just going to put one dimensional in the middle of the bow. Should just fit in perfectly. And then that is just going to go on the corner there. And that's it. So if I just bring back my other ones so you can see slight variations between them all. Not many variations really, but just the way that I've arranged my parcels or how I've stamped the different colours with the sentiments or the different ribbon around the dog's neck. So you can have a little play around with that and come up with your own ideas. So just a quick recap, we have used the Christmas Scottie stamp set with the Scottie Dog punch. Inks we have used are Real Red and Old Olive, and of course for the dog, Memento Black. And then for adhesives, I've just used dimensionals today, and then a little bit of Baker's Twine in whatever colour you would like to put around the dog's neck. And the dimensions of the card bases are, it's a 4" by 4" square card, which is 10 centimetres by 10 centimetres, and then a scrap of white we've needed for the Scottie Dog and the bow and for the sentiment, and the sentiment measures 3 centimetres by 4.5 centimetres, and that's it. So quite quick to make. You could make quite a few, do some batch card making if you need to get a bit ahead with your Christmas cards. And next week we'll be having another go with the same set, and we're going to be doing some tartan dogs, which I absolutely love tartan anyway, but tartan and Christmas always seems right to me, and especially with the Scottie Dog, of course. So we'll be doing that next time. So have a good week, and I will see you next week for our next coffee and card. Take care. Bye.